All right, here we are, creating inequalities practice for those that from the learning target need a little more practice with this. So now, it'll look a lot like the creating equations because it's basically the same problems. We've just changed them to be inequalities, okay? So, let's start off here. Now, the cost of a birthday party at Classic Boone is $200 plus 4 per person. Okay, so starting number would be 200. Growth would be, we're adding 4, right, per person. Okay, so we could start the inequality the same way we do an equation. 200 plus 4 times p. Now here's where things get different. Instead of an equation, now we are going to use an inequality, okay? So, Fletcher's parents said that he can only spend at most $300, okay? So what that means is we've got $300 here to spend, okay? This represents the cost per person. This represents how much we have to spend, okay? So at most 300 means he can't go over 300, which means that 300 has to be the bigger number, okay? Now it can be equal to, but it has to be the bigger one. So there's our inequality, okay? Now we want to know how many friends he can invite, so we're going to have to solve for p, okay? Which means we start off by subtracting 200, okay, giving us 4p is less than or equal to 100. Then we divide by 4, giving us p is less than or equal to 25. So how many friends can he have? Well, the maximum amount he can have is 25, but he could have less because he doesn't have to spend all of the money, okay? All right, number 2, a cell phone company charges $55 per month for unlimited minutes plus 25 cents per text. Again, we started out just like an equation, starting number, growth, per text. So we're adding 0.25t, so 55 plus 0.25t. Okay, now it says at most how many texts can you send to have the cost stay under 80? So again, we want to be under 80. So we want this, which represents the cost per text, to be under that. So that is what our inequality would look like. Now, could we put an equal sign here? Well, it says under 80, doesn't say equal to 80, so that's how we're going to have to leave our inequality, okay? Now again, to figure it out, we're going to do the same process to solve it, okay? So we'd subtract by 55 first, get 0.25t is less than, that'd be what, 25? Then we divide by 0.25, okay? And what we end up with is, let me grab a calculator here, is 100, okay? So t is less than 100. So how many texts can he send? Well, less than 100 of them, okay? All right, let's just keep moving on now. So, Jade is stranded downtown with only $10 to get home. Taxis cost 75 cents per mile. But there is an additional $2.35 higher charge. So our start number, $2.35. Our growth, 0.75 per mile. And so we're adding that cost. How many miles can she travel in the taxi? So we start out $2.35 plus 0.75 m. She has $10. Okay, now it can't cost, this part representing the taxi can't be more than this. So again, we're going to go like this. It could be equal to, but it can't be more than. So again, to solve it, we kind of follow that same process that we've been doing, right? We take the starting number, subtract it, then we end up dividing. So 10 minus 2.35, 7.65, divide by 0.75. We end up with $10.20, okay, which m would be less than. So, oh, not $10, right? That should actually be 10.2 miles. Okay. So miles is less than or equal to 10.2. So hopefully she's closer than 10 miles away. Okay, Jasmine's dad is planning a surprise birthday party for her. He will hire a bouncy castle and provide party food for all the guests. The bouncy castle costs $150 for the afternoon. There's our start. And the food will cost $3 per person. There's our growth. Okay, 3. We're adding that 3. We're adding it per person. They can only spend $1,000 up to how many people can attend. So similar to the other party one, we would charge $150 plus 3p. That represents the cost of their party. They have $1,000 they can spend. Can't spend over it, so that's got to be the bigger number. Can spend equal to it. Okay, so then to solve it, just like we did everything else, we subtract 150. So we get 3p is less than or equal to 850. Divide by 3, and p is going to be less than or equal to 850 divided by 3. It's about 283.3. So they can invite 283 and a third of a person, because that's repeated. Okay, which basically would be how many could they invite maximum? 283. Okay, and then after that they can, they could do less than that. They don't have to do that many. They can't do more. Okay. Virginia's painting service charges $10 per job and 20 cents per square foot. If you have at most 25, how many square feet can you get painted? So 10 just for having the job.
French Club is starting right now in room 219.
All right. Wasn't planning on that announcement. I don't know if you heard that quite, but yay. So we'll just keep going. So 20 cents per square foot, so times how many feet you want painted, and we're adding that, right? So our inequality would be 10 plus 0.20 f, and we have $25, right? So again, that 25 is going to be bigger. So we subtract 10 to solve it. 0.20 f less than or equal to 15. Divide by 0.20. We get f is less than or equal to 15 divided by 0.20, 75. So we can have up to 75 square feet painted, or less, right? Because it's an inequality, could be less. All right, number 6. Melvina only has $25 to get home. Her cell is dead, and so she needs to hire a taxi. Taxis cost $2.50 per mile. Okay, that's our growth, right? 250 times how many miles she goes. Okay, so we're adding that. And there's an initial hire fee of $5, so that's what we're starting out with. So we go 5 plus 250 times m. We only have $25. Okay, again, our amount has to be less than or equal to that $25. Okay, so if we want to figure out how many miles that will get her, we just go like this, divide by 2.5, we end up with m is less than or equal to 20 divided by 2.5 is 8. So 8 or less miles is how far she'll be able to go. Alright. Okay, now this next one, Juan, is considering 2 cell phone plans. The first company charges $120 for the phone and $30 per month for the calling plan. Okay, so we start with $120. We're adding $30 per month, right? So we get 120 plus 30m. Okay. Now the second one, the second company charges $40 for the same phone, so much less for the phone. It charges $45 per month. So $45 times how many months added to the 40, right? So that's where we get our part right there. Now, if he can only spend up to $500 a year, which should he get? So these want to be less than or equal to 500. Okay, so then we solve both of them by doing the same process, right? We would first subtract by 120 on the first one, or subtract by 40 on the second one. So 45m is less than or equal to 460. 30m is less than or equal to 380. Divide by 30, divide by 45, we get m is less than or equal to 460 divided by 45 is 10.2 repeated. 380 divided by 30 is 12.6 repeated. So basically what this means is that under this plan, first plan, he can, with $500, he can pay a little over a year, 12.6, be 12, almost 13 months. Whereas down here, he can only pay slightly more than 10 months. Okay, so which plan would be better? Well, for what he's got, the better plan would be the first one. Okay, so that plan. Okay. All right, another similar one. So Sam here is deciding whether to just rent movies from Redbox or to sign up for Hulu Plus. Redbox charges $1.28 per movie, so $1.28 for however many movies you're doing. Okay, if you don't rent anything, you don't pay anything, so that would start at 0. Okay, now the inequality would be 128m. Says he can only spend up to $10 a month, so that has to be less than or equal to 10. Now for Hulu, Hulu only costs $7.99, but it doesn't matter how many movies. We don't pay per movie, we only pay that flat fee. So B $7.99 is less than or equal to 10. Okay, well, basically we know that's under 10, so that would work. Okay, for this one, we would take 10, divide by 1.28, right? We get m is less than or equal to 10 divided by 1.28 would be 7.8125. So basically he can only watch 7 movies. So Hulu, you can watch as many as you want. Redbox, you can only watch up to 7. I guess it depends on if you like Hulu or think it's got the movies you want to watch. But according to this, that'd probably be the better deal. All right. So number 9, Florence is binge watching Netflix. He's already watched 2 shows. He decides to take the exponential binge watching challenge, which means he will have to double the amount he watches. So growth times him by 2 per day. So exponent. Starting number would be 2. So our inequality 2 times 2d. His mom said he can only watch at most 150 shows. So he's got to watch less than or equal to that. Okay, how many days minimum will it take him? Now, to solve these ones, it's more just guess and check. Is really, we could divide by 2, but 2 to the d is less than or equal to 75. Now we would just kind of guess and check. So if we count by 2s, so 2 times 2 times 2, but we're counting by 2, so 2, 4, doubling, I should say, not counting by 2s. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, then 32, then 64, then 128. So this would be like 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. So he could really only watch for 6 days, because on that 7th day he's going to watch too many. So he could watch for 6 days. That's the minimum there. Okay. 10. You are breeding rats. You've already bred 12 of them. You estimate that you can triple the number every year. So times them by 3 per year. There's 12 of them to start with. The Twila City Ordinance states that no one can have more than 100 rats. So 12 times 3, why? That has to be less than or equal to 100 rats. Okay, so how many years could you get there? Again, kind of similar to what we did before. We could divide by 12, and then we're going to have to kind of guess. So 100 divided by 12 would be about 8.3. Well, if we count by 3s, 3 to the first would equal 3. 3 squared would equal 9. So already into year 2, we're going to have too many. So really, we could only breed them for a year and like a half, probably. Okay? So, there's kind of those ones, and yeah. So hopefully that helps you with the inequalities a little bit better. Okay? I did notice that most of the time ours ended up being less than, but if it says something about you need more or at least, you know, so like look at number 4. Had we said instead you have to spend at least $1,000, that would have changed this, and then we would have had to invite more than 283 people. Okay, so kind of something to look for, but other than that, there we go.